Every generation says, "Ah, they all say it was better then, you know." But Father, if you look at the stats, in the last 50 years or so in our culture, almost every indicator of social pathology is off the charts.
Absolutely.
What happened?
We lost God as a culture. You know, again, think about even watching TV 50 years ago, easy 50 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. Yeah, exactly. And it was all, and God was part of it, and they talked about going to church, and, you know, and then people come and says, no, God's the problem. So they want God out. And you see what happens when we take God out of society. You know, we just had a shooting at one of the schools, and they happen all the time, and people start fighting about whether it's we need gun control, or we need this, or we need more rules, or more strict. And then one of these kids came on, he was on one of the social medias, he says, what we need is Jesus. And that's exactly what we need. We need God brought back into society. You know, because God, think about how people lived when people believe in God. And, you know, they're selfless, they're caring, they're putting other people first. But when people have no belief in God, often then you don't have to have any kind of moral. Like, again, I have a friend who likes to go in and out of atheism, and I was talking to him about, well, you don't have to do anything, right? Because what's your moral? What's your moral? You know,
don't get in trouble with the law.
Yeah, exactly, because there's no right and there's no wrong. Who determines it? You? Or what if I don't agree with it? I don't have anything above me, so I can do anything I want. And so when we've become this moral relativism, which is so rampant now, everybody has it. Well, that might be right for you, but it's wrong for me. But if that's okay for truth is truth for everybody, or it's truth for nobody. And when it comes to the reality of God, that God is God, and He exists whether you believe in Him or whether we don't believe in Him. But you can always tell whether something's good or something by what kind of fruit it bears. When society doesn't believe in God, people kill each other, people hurt each other, people live selfishly. When society does believe in God, people love.
My grandmother came from Italy in that big wave of immigrants in the early part of the 20th century. They never locked their doors. They left their keys in the car.
Sure.
You know, you could look back at that and say, well, that was a rosy time. We always romanticize the earlier days. But the fact of the matter was, there was a more sincere social glue that held things together.
There were morals, and they were taught morals, and even in public schools, they prayed, right? They had Bible studies every day. They would sit there and they'd get over the loudspeaker and they'd pray. Now again, in a society where there's more than just Christians, okay, I get it. You don't have to pray just to Jesus and say everybody has to believe in Jesus. But we can still sit there and have what we can all agree on morals, and morals are taught. Now there is no absolutes. And when there's no absolute morals, there's absolutely no goals, or there's nothing to help people and give them any kind of guidance. And so if there is no guidance, this is what we get.
We are getting what we created.
Absolutely.
This is no shock.
It shouldn't be.
So you see it on the media, everybody's shocked.
Yes.
How could this be? What happens? What is going on? And they're looking for every solution.
We
other than God.
need God back in society. We just do. Not to force Him on anybody, but to talk about basic morals and to say that this is what's right and this is what's wrong. And God can do great things when we let Him in.
I forget which philosopher said this. I think he was an atheist, but he said, if there were no God, we should have to invent Him.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because God is the one who keeps us all together. You know, He's the one who created us all. To try to do everything without God is to try to throw away the handbook on how to run something, and it doesn't work. It just doesn't.
And we fill it up with what?
With ourselves.
Anything else,
exactly.
Right?
And usually it's ourselves. And if we don't worship the Creator, we worship us. And boy, we're worshiping us, and that's not getting us anywhere.
Well, I wouldn't say it's the elephant in the room. I'd say it's an elephant that takes up the whole room, which is interesting because we don't even see that as a society. That little kid that you said, we need Jesus, obviously there will be those believers who like what he said, and the rest of the culture will say, what a simplistic notion.
Exactly. And those simplistic notions is what saved society. And when we lose the simplistic notions like we need God, that's when everything gets bad.
Well then, for those of us who do believe,
I do anyway.
we have to make our belief and our following the Lord even stronger, so maybe we can just nudge society a little bit, huh?
Maybe we can live it. And when we start living this faith, society is going to follow. I believe it.
He believes it.